In this video, I'm going to show you how you can start grading an automatically marked quiz. So I'm in Inspira under my Graders tab, and then under this tab I have a list of exams that I can grade. So in this case I'm going to use our SLC mock exam, and you can see that the status is grading is in progress. This means that I've already opened the exam, but I haven't finished grading yet. Okay, so the first thing that we can see here on our workspace is that I have two roles, one as a planner and one as a grader. So planners and graders don't have the same functionalities, so I'm going to collapse my planner section so that I only have my grader section open. The first option here is overview. So this gives us an overview of how our grading process is going. So you can see everything here is incomplete, and none of my students have a final grade. To actually enter into the students, we need to go into marking. Okay, so down the bottom in the right here, we have our candidates and then we have our questions. So I'm going to start at question 1. Question 1 for candidate number 1. Okay, so as we can see here, my candidate hasn't entered in any of the correct responses. So they've been marked wrong. So in this case, yes, our automatically marked question has done the right thing. But let's say, actually, your student entered a word here that could have been correct. It may be an option that you didn't foresee. So you need to give them an extra mark for this first one. We can then override this automatically marked result to give them an extra point for this. So we go to override, and I'm going to give them 1 extra point. They had 1 extra point, so that's going to give them a total of 2 points. And then click apply. You can always go back and edit this, or you can use calculator, which is going to bring it back to the original automatically marked result. When I'm doing this, I always leave a private note to say that I adjusted the mark. So I always say which question or which space I adjusted the mark for in case we have to come back to this later. It's a good idea to do these sorts of things to save future you some time. Okay, so moving on to our next question. So this one is a graphic gap match question. It can happen that when you do your graphic gap match questions that you don't make the space big enough. So sometimes it can happen that your image and the space that you put aren't aligning, but the student has actually put the right image or word in the right space. So in that case, you might need to adjust the mark. This is why it's always worth having a check over your answers, even though they're automatically marked. A lot of people are using these kind of questions, and they are really reliable in the automatically marked section, so that's really good. But it is worth checking as well, because there can be things that slip through when we're revising our quizzes, and students may pick up on mistakes that we haven't. Similarly to the graphic gap match that I talked about before, so this could happen. In this case, we can't see any errors. All of the words are fitting nicely into the spaces, but it's good to check as well, just to make sure that the students are actually incorrect in their answers and it's not an alignment issue. Now, as I'm grading, I can see that my candidates maybe did this in a bit of a hurry because they've just selected everything in a diagonal line. So this is another automatic question that I think is quite reliable. So what you would be checking here is if you have accidentally put in a wrong option, because that can happen. So now I've got to the end of my quiz. I didn't show all of the questions here because some of them repeated question types. But now I'm at the end and I've got a reflection, which is an essay type question, and it's not automatically marked. So you would have seen when I went to overview, it says calculating incomplete marks. And here I have grade set manually. Normally when you have a quiz that's fully automatically marked questions, it will say use calculated here, and then you can just use the calculated marks. But in this case, because I have one manually marked question, I have to set the mark for this last one. So in this case, I'm very happy that my candidate gave me a response, so I'm going to give them 10 marks. Okay, so I can move back to overview and see my student. Okay, and then I would have to calculate their marks here. The videos in the Inspira Help Center are really good for showing you how to use this graded workflow and all of these functions, so I'm not going to do that in this video. But I will point out that once you have finished all of your marks and these in your grades, your grade column, you have them all set, you will then need to go to confirm. So once you've clicked confirmed, you'll be asked to confirm that as well. And then your grades will go into Blackboard. So this isn't an automatic function between Inspira and Blackboard. You do need to confirm your grades at the end of your Inspira quiz. Once you've confirmed all the automatically marked questions, and then they will go into Blackboard. And remember as well that once they've gone into Blackboard, you may need to go in to Grade Center and make that column visible to students. Thank you for watching.